Monster Hunter Wilds demo just released, and Boyo and I, this is Boyo. Boyo, say hi. Wanted to give.
Hola, ¿cómo estás?
Okay, don't cut me off. I wanted to give our 5
You
tips.
you told me to say hi. What do you
Yeah,
mean? Don't cut
okay.
you off, sir.
These are our 5.
Mr. Karnak, watch your mouth. You asked me to speak. I spoke.
So these are our 5 tips for new Monster Hunter players, and specifically new Monster Hunter Wilds players.
And one bonus tip at the end, only because
Our first tip is the map, camps, and fast travel.
the map compared to the older games is a lot more detailed. There's a lot more emphasis on verticality as well as like very minute details of how the terrain is shaped. So you can really just read what's what better than before. For example, in Monster Hunter World, the ancient forest was very well known for being an easy place to get lost. And it feels like they have taken measures in order to
Minimize that.
minimize that, right? It really felt like the ancient forest was super complicated. Even 1,000 hours into the game, I was still getting lost in the ancient forest.
It was big map.
Big map. Now the maps are even larger, but there is also more attention to detailing within the actual map. So now you can see different levels properly throughout everything, and you can understand more of what the map is trying to show you. That also shows you the different camps as well as the villages. So in each main locale, you'll have a main village, you'll have a base camp, and you'll have multiple locations throughout the map in which you can place pop-up camps. Pop-up camps are basically going to be your way of adding extra fast travel points as well as extra points around the map to get to certain areas a little bit quicker. They also you're able to fully restock, you're able to change weapons and armor, you're able to eat food all within the camp whenever you want just by going to the camps.
So new to Monster Hunter Wilds and newer to Monster Hunter as a franchise is fast travel. So you're able just to, in the older games, you weren't necessarily able to fully fast travel in between camps or villages per se. And in this game, we're able to fully fast travel in between our camps and village.
In the demo, we only have access to the one locale, but in theory, you would be able to go from here to, what is it, the Windward Plains, correct?
Windsong Village.
You would be able to, well, the entire map is the Windward Plains.
Yeah,
right?
Windward Plains, yeah.
You would be able to go, so theoretically, from what we understand, you would be able to fast travel or physically travel to other locales whenever you want. So I can be in this map, and then I can go to another map and select a village there and either fast travel to it, or I can take the physical route and actually travel from one locale to the other seamlessly. And that is a very, very brand new thing for Monster Hunter, because previously how it worked was there were, multiple locales, but how you travel to those locales was 1, from the village, and 2, through load screens. You couldn't travel from one locale mid-hunt to another locale. You had to physically go back to the village.
It wasn't
now,
as seamless.
Because the world has become much more seamless. Now you're able to just travel between areas however you want.
So, another fairly unique not fairly, but a very unique feature for Wilds is the mount. So the previous game and the previous 2 games did have mounts, but this one's a little bit more in depth. It's the Sacred. The Sacred is your mount, and for right now on the PS5 controller, it's initiated for the mount to come to you, the Sacred, with up on the D-pad. That's up on the D-pad, and the Sacred comes. Yeah, so top right-hand corner, we see the actual full extent of what can be done with the Sacred. Can you see that, Polo? The riding attack? Okay, so...
Yes. So what's actually really cool about the Sacred is that it combines both the Tail Raiders from Monster Hunter World and the Palamute from Monster Hunter Rise.
Mm-hmm.
So what I mean by that is you have now, as far as this game, Wilds, you have a dedicated mount that will always be with you.
Mm-hmm.
Versus how the Palamute worked, where you could choose to bring two Palicos, two Palamutes, or a Palico and a Palamute.
Mm-hmm.
So in this game, you have a dedicated mount. Like I said, you're able to auto target, auto run towards a waypoint or anything like that. But the sacred also doubles as your supply
Basically,
chest.
basically like a mobile camp.
It actually works like a supply chest as
Supply chest.
well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So in the older games, in World, Rise, and before, you would enter a hunt and there would be a little chest that you would have extra items that you could take. In this game, it works differently. We don't have that chest anymore. The items that you get mid hunt are sent directly to your sacred for you. Excuse me. Wow. They're sent directly to your sacred for you to be able to just grab them off of him whenever you want while you're mounted. The sacred also allows you to switch weapons. Because in this game, very awesome mechanic, you're able to bring two weapons with you on the hunt. And the only way you can switch between the two weapons is by going on your sacred.
So tip number 3, it's all about parties, lobbies, and kind of how that works in Monster Hunter Wilds. Poe, do you want to tell them about how lobbies work? How lobbies?
Yeah, so lobbies work very similar to how they worked in Monster Hunter World. The big key difference is in Monster Hunter World, we only had 16 players in a lobby, whereas in Monster Hunter Wilds, we apparently can have up to 100 players in each locale. Now, what does that mean for going on a quest with your dedicated for hunters? So how it works now is there's also an added feature called link parties. So you can set your 4 hunters in a link party so that when you go out into the actual world, into the locale,
they come with you.
Villages and base camps, the people that you are with are the only people that you will be able to see during the hunt. So you can't just have 100 people fighting one monster.
Mm-mm.
You're only going to be able to have your 4 hunters.
Mm-hmm.
But when you are in the village, you do see everybody else who is part of the lobby.
Yeah. So like right here in this lobby.
Let's say you're a solo player, you can actually just maybe type into, they have the chat feature. You can probably say, hey, I need help with this monster. Does anybody want to join a link party with me? You can do things like that. It should have the free chat. Usually what it's called. Try triangle. In that screen, communicate. No, go to communication.
You could do chat log too.
Oh, there you go. You can press square.
Yeah.
And then there, boom. You can type into there and say, hey, I need help with a monster. Hey, does anybody want to join me? I need help with a monster. I need help with this. Not everybody you meet is going to be able to speak the same language as you, so you do also have to keep that in mind.
Good note.
No, honestly,
yeah, because we played with Koreans, we played with Japanese, we played with French.
There's people from all around the world who play Monster Hunter, but the one cool thing is that there is also another feature in the chat that you're able to do. There are certain messages that are very basic messages that you're able to say that will be translated into other languages so those people can understand what you're saying in their own respective language. So if you, for example, if I type in, hey, I need help with a monster, and somehow nobody else speaks English, they won't understand me. But if I go into the communications tab and I select one of the messages that will be translated, they will be able to understand me because it'll auto translate to whatever language they are currently in.
Now, for tip number 4, so new to Monster Hunter Wilds, of course, for all the new shiny things. is a new full mechanic called Focus Strike.
Focus
Boyo,
mode and focus strike.
Focus mode and Focus Strike. Sorry. Let's get over to a monster so that way you guys can see what we're talking about here.
The focus mode is a really great tool for repositioning when a monster decides to move in a weird way out of the way that you are currently aiming your weapon. It gives you a reticule. The reticule will determine the direction that your hunter is looking at. So you can continue to hold that button and just look at the monster. Now, hand in hand with focus mode itself are the focus strikes. So in this game, you have to create a wound on the monster. When you create a wound on the monster, you're able to use a focus strike. That is a specific move to each weapon that allows you to attack only the wounded part.
Yeah. This is the Focus Strike move. Unique to each weapon and gives you a unique animation that also gave me a gauge. Alright. Now all we have is Alma and questing for tip number 5.
So, quests work very different in this game. So there are 2 main ways in which you can start a quest. So you can just go out into the map and start attacking a monster. And after you do a certain amount of damage, it will force create a quest for that monster. Alternatively, you can speak to Alma or Handler, and she can create a dedicated quest for a monster for you. Now, for people who just want to jump into the action and go straight into a hunt, going out into the world and just finding a monster is probably going to be your best bet. But if you're hunting a specific monster, going to Alma and creating a quest is probably going to be your other best bet.
Because it gives you more focus and streamline for your sacred and what you're doing and all the notes.
Right.
Yeah. That way you don't have to go out into the world and go find it and go search for it.
If you're looking for a specific monster and they just so happen to not be on the map at that moment, you can go to Alma and be able to create a quest for that specific monster.
I do want to note that Alma does travel with you, so if you have a need for a quest or need to look things up, she's there to be like with you, so you could just go right over to her. And let's say, for instance, for me personally, I'm gonna cancel this quest that I already created, and it's gonna take me back to camp, which is nice because you probably want to, put things aside in camp and so on and so forth. So we're gonna go. This is gonna send us back to camp, and we'll also have Alma here. So Alma can be designated in a camp, and she can also come with you. Here we go. See, she's back here, and we can join quests as is, which I really think is really cool. Boyo, that's a thing on here. That is Boyo and I's 5 tips for the new Monster Hunter Wilds demo.
Sir, you're forgetting one very big, probably, honestly, guys, the most important skill and most important tip that I have for you today.
No, we
and
have
if you
all
do
of them.
not, oh no, we do not, sir. If you do not follow this tip, you will get nowhere in this game. It is the most important thing. It's a skill that you haven't even learned, Mark. It's 2 good words for you.
I haven't learned it yet?
Get good.
Okay. Thanks, Boyo. That means a lot.
Get good. Because if you don't get good, you're gonna get got.